What is up, everybody? It's Marwan Bambley here again with a new live video. Don't have anything specifically planned for this video, so I'm just gonna sketch some cars and have you, if you want to join, that's awesome. You can come along and watch this video. And as always, if you have any questions, feel free to ask. First of all, as usual, make sure you have your coffee ready. It's the most important thing before starting any type of work. So, this is what we did yesterday, or I did this sheet yesterday live. And it was a lot of fun. It was just kind of free forms, not really doing any thought behind that either. I just like to sketch and then just see what comes out when I'm starting to sketch. So first of all, let's just warm up. And let me share the video. On my page, share on your timeline. Alright, it's been shared. So yeah, if you have any questions or just want to say something, just comment on the video and I'll be happy to answer if I can. I like to reuse old papers like this because I hate waste anything. So if I have some space on a sheet of paper, I like to fill it up first with whatever comes to mind, kind of like we did yesterday. If you saw that video, if you didn't see it, it's on my page, the Sketch Monkey. If you search the Sketch Monkey on Facebook, you're gonna find my page, and there you can check out all the previous videos. Yeah, I think that's I'm just looking at my own video here and I can see that there's some lag, but I don't think I can do anything about that. Let's see what we can do with this page here before we jump into sketching cars. I'll try to add some thickness to this thing right here. Put it in perspective. So I just came home from the gym and today was leg day, so the plan is to just basically sit down all day because I don't think I can use my legs. They're out of commission for the day. And tomorrow is going to be fun, walking. Hopefully I'll be able to walk tomorrow. We shall see. This is a thing with big pen. If you go over your hand on a sharp or on a thick line like this, you're gonna get some ink on your hand. Add some section lines to this thing. So this is the first sketch of the day. This is why I'm doing these random things right now. Because I just want to get started with some quick shapes. And look at that, it turned out to be a car. Or something similar to a car at least. Alright, I think I'm ready. So let's pick find a blank sheet of paper. I'm not sure if I want to do white or if I want to do this kind of paper. I think I'm just gonna go white for today. So what do we want to, what type of car do we want to sketch? I think as usual, like I just want to sketch freely now, so I'm just gonna make a two-door sports car. I like to start with a side view because it's gonna give me the proportions and it's gonna give me the information I need to make this side view in perspective later on. Side view is a really good way to start with any type of product that you're doing. It doesn't have to be cars. So there we have the wheelbase, and I like to put out the center of the wheels early on. And I mentioned this before, but when you're sketching in side view, keep in mind that you're still sketching in perspective. You can make it in as an isometric view, but that's gonna look very boring. And we're not engineers here, we're designers, so we're going to keep the boring stuff for the engineers and we do all the fun stuff. Alright, so let's start building the body of this car. First of all, let's put down a baseline, just a simple line that goes between the wheels. And from here we can start to, let's see. First of all, do we want it to be a front engine car or a mid engine car? And depending on what we choose, that is going to affect where the A-pillar starts. So if it's the front engine car, you need to have space in the front for the engine to be mounted in between the wheels, the front wheels here. That means that the A-pillar is going to start somewhere around here. And if we have a mid-engine car, that means like a Lambo, for example, that means that the A-pillar is going to move forward this way. And if you look at a Lambo inside view, you can see that the A-pillar almost starts where the front wheel ends, so it starts around here. So I think I'm gonna make two side views, one with a mid-engine car and one with a front-engine car, so you can see the difference. So let's start by making, let's start with making a mid-engine car. Let's see. You can have a look. You can look at references, Google Ferrari 458 side view or Lamborghini side views, and you can have a nice reference to how this side view actually looks. Some key points, for example, where the A-pillar is, where the top of the greenhouse is going to be, and that is obviously going to be where the driver is going to have the most headroom, so where he is going to sit, he or she is going to sit. And usually they have a short wheel overhang or a overhang at the back, so I'm gonna cut it off, not let it run too long there. And same thing here, you want to keep the top point of this fender should be right above the wheel, so it makes it look good, and it also gives space for whatever you want to put, the engineers put inside of here, so springs and all the stuff that goes in behind the wheels. Just give it as much space as possible. See if we can make a cool front fender for this thing. Maybe it's a bit too sleek, it's a bit too low, I think. Or maybe not, we'll see. Just creating the window line now. Let's make the front windscreen visible too. With that one line, that's only thing you need to do to make it to show that this front window has a curvature to it. Since you're looking at it from the side and it has a curvature to it, that means that you're gonna be visible from the front as well. Same thing with these wheels here. You're gonna see the wheels on the far side of the car, underneath the car, since it's in perspective. I don't see any questions yet, so I'm just gonna go ahead and continue. I'm not thinking about the line weight just yet, but you could do that, I guess. You can start putting in the line weight already, but I want to have a few more features on this car before I start going into those kind of details. So I'm just filling in the front air intake like that, have it something like this. And also at the back we need to have, maybe we can put some exhausts back here. Farhan, I see your question. Do you have any specifics about perspective that you want to know? Because perspective is kind of a big subject, so if you have a specific question related to perspective, I'm happy to help there. Yes, Roy, I'm using a big round stick, so it's a really basic pen, and I don't really think it matters too much what pen you're using, but I like this one because you can buy them 10 sets for I think $1 or something like that, and they work great. So let's make some air intake here. I don't want to have it like the yes, Aditya, I think I pronounced that right. I'm gonna make a side vent right now. I'm trying to figure out how to design it though. I want to have it maybe go something like the, I don't know if the Huracan has something like this. The thing is, one thing I don't like when sketching features, design features like this is having 50%. That doesn't make sense at all, but in my head it made sense. But if you have a design feature like this, you don't want to have it cut off right in the middle, because any lines that are cut off in the middle, so if I were to keep this going down here and cut it right in the middle of this car, the dynamic is going to look weird. So you want to keep at least 1/3, for example. You can have 1/3 of the way and then cut it off, and then have 2/3 of the way down there. I hope that made sense. And let's make a body feature something like that. You can make a handle, maybe, not sure. Yeah, the handle is extremely close to the air vent right now, but that's what you get for buying a Lambo. They're supposed to be a bit wild and dangerous. So you can only open the door when the car is off, otherwise your hand is gonna get sucked in there and you're gonna have an accident. Now I'm starting to think about the line weight, so I'm gonna add some line weight to this. And honestly, I think this sketch is looking too stiff. It has no real life to it. It's kind of a boring design in my opinion. It's because I spent too much time on it. I don't know about a spoiler. Can maybe make a spoiler onto this. I don't know, something like, let's see. What does a spoiler look like inside view though? Like a Huracan, Performante style. It's actually, if you go to Motor Trend, they just released pictures of the new Huracan version and it's going to be insane. I'm not sure about this spoiler. I'm just gonna keep it like that for now. We also need to make some... Actually, I can connect this line here to the rear. Let's see if we can make some graphic out of this. Same thing here, you're looking at the car from the side, but the rear and the front are curved. Same thing with the windshield here. So if they are curved, that means that you're still gonna see some features if you're looking at it straight from the side. And now this is the part that takes the longest time is actually, it's always the wheels. The wheels take a long time to sketch. And I don't have those templates, like the circular templates to do this, so I always did freehand. Good practice, but it takes time. The best way would be probably to just use a black marker and go around this and create the tire that way. And the thickness of the tire is totally up to you. You can make the profile of the tire, make it like a race tire with basically zero thickness to the tire. And usually, if it's a Lambo, it doesn't really have a big thickness to them anyway. That was one wheel, or one tire. Jordy, I don't know what the LaFerrari FXX K-Wing looks like. So that's gonna be difficult. And putting a Ferrari wing on a Lambo, not sure, maybe it could work. Might do a test in Photoshop later. Do the same thing on the front wheel. Rotate the paper to make it easy for yourself to get in the right angle. And I'm actually doing this faster now than I would normally do. Cool. We could probably go ahead and put some markers on this right now. But First of all, as I said, what we're going to do to sketch a front engine car as well in profile. But first, let's get some coffee. All right, so all right, let's do the front mounted car. Same thing here. I'm going to start with a simple line like this. Create the wheelbase. If you're unsure about the wheelbase, same thing. Just look at the photos of cars, and then you can measure how many you can. If you have Photoshop, you can copy this wheel of the photo, and then you can copy it and see how many wheels are supposed to fit in between these. So you get a measurement of this distance right here. Put out the wheel base or the baseline of the car. So the main difference here, as you can see, the A-pillar is starting right where the front wheel ends. So what we want to do now is move back this point to, it depends. Mercedes SLS has probably one of the longest hoods I've ever seen, and that goes on for almost half the car. We can make something in between that and something more traditional. Put out the line like this. I don't like this line. I'm going to try and fix it. Better. I still want to have this a bit higher up, so I want to have more curvature to this curve. And I want to have more curvature to the front windscreen or windshield. I guess depending if you're in the UK or if you're in the US. Different words, different names for the same thing. And let's have this stretch out at the back more than the mid-engine car. Let's cut it off in the front around here. Looks like a GT car, like a comfortable cruiser. Put out the door cut lines as well. And I always like to put down the shadow here because it gives the car some weight. There we go. So you see the difference here. The main difference between if you're sketching a front engine car or a mid-engine car is basically move the A-pillar back and forth until you get whatever you want to achieve. Aditya, can you make it more like the AMG GT with a Porsche? I could do that, but it's gonna be tight on this page. I might do it in a different video. Now, I don't know if this looks like a 911 at the back. I think it would have to have a bit more slope, a stronger curvature here. Maybe that would make it a 911. Should we have round rear lights, or do we want to make some graphic for them? I'm just gonna make them slots that goes like this. LED lights at the back. We have some line there, and diffuser at the back as well. Big diffuser. Put out the center points for the wheels. And we still have the biggest time-consuming thing to do on both these cars, and that is putting out the spokes of the wheels. That takes basically the same amount of time as the entire this the entire sketch. Starting to think about the line weight here now. And that is always the same thing. You want to keep the lines thicker that are in the shade. If you like this video, I forgot to mention it, please share it with on your page or on your timeline or whatever. I would appreciate that a lot. Not sure about this front air intake, how we can make that look interesting. Yeah, that could work. So let's put in some spokes on here. What I like to do, I just like to put out where the spokes are going to hit the rim, just like this, so I have a guide. And then you can start designing however you want them to look. A lot easier, because all you have to do is hit that spot, that little dot that you made. Something like that. Same thing in the front. If you want to go into more details, you can always, you can spend probably an hour just on the wheels if you want to do that. Oh, that was a fail of a disc brake. It looks like an egg in there. Let's make some rims for this Lambo up here as well. There we go. I'm gonna change the playlist. Ankit, I see your question that you will go to CCS. That's awesome. Congratulations for getting in there. It's a good school for sure. What, according to you, are the most important classes that I should take? If you're going transportation design, I would just sketch cars all day. That's probably it. I don't know if there's any specific courses like prior to going to university. Just look at YouTube videos. You can check out all my videos and try to copy any designer that you find interesting, and then you're gonna find your own style and develop your style that way. So just practice. I'm sure you're gonna boost your skills once you get into the flow of university. All right, so from here, let's start by adding some reflections before we add the markers. So I want to figure out where I want to put the markers later on. And I do that by adding some lines with a pen, which are going to guide me later on when we jump into the markers. And there are some basic rules for this. Just keep in mind that you have a horizon line that is going to be reflected somewhere in the car. And that depends on what type of car you're sketching. And it depends on the shoulder line, the height of the shoulder line. The higher up, I think I mentioned this in another video before, but the higher up the shoulder line is, the more beefy or muscular the car is going to look. So if you have your shoulder line down here, that's going to make the car look, not as beefed up as if you have it like 1/3 up, for example, of this body part here. Let me check some questions. Hej William, kul att du är på videon. Yes, I studied at Mid-Sweden University. I don't know if you're there now, but it's a great school. Yeah, I did. Yeah, it's totally up to what style you want to develop. I like to put this shoulder line like this because it just looks good and it just makes sense to me. Some designers do it differently, but yeah, it just looks good. I like to not overcomplicate things. Just keep things simple and don't overthink stuff like details. Just go ahead and sketch. And if it looks like crap, well, it's a good thing we have like 500 sheets of paper, so all we have to do is just start over again. And before we start over, we want to analyze what went wrong in the first sketch. Maybe have a look at some other designers and their sketches and try to figure out what you did wrong, so you actually learned something from the previous sketch. All right, so let's pick some markers. You tell me what color you want these cars to be in. We can make, I guess, 2 different colors. So I'm just gonna wait for the comments to come in. What color you want to see? This is. I have more markers than this, so it can be any color that you want. This is like 1 out of 4 sets that I have right here. I'm gonna wait 10 more seconds for any colors to pop up. Maria says blue and green, so let's do blue and green. Let's see, we have a bunch of blues here. We have that one. We have something called sky blue right here. Napoleon blue, interesting. Let's do this one as well. We might not use all of these blues. I'm just gonna pick every blue I see. But for one sketch, I like to use about 3 markers per sketch. So 3 shades of blue, for example. If I go over that, it just gets kind of messy. So let's see if we like the mint blue. Looks cool. And I also like to start with the lightest blue, shade of blue that I can find. And in this case, we have the mint blue. This is the lightest blue out of these that I have in front of me right now. You can see them right here. And obviously, this one is the lightest, so let's do that. All right, so I'm just gonna go over it really fast. The only thing I'm thinking about is the light source. Where is the sun coming from? And how is this shape? How is it shaped? How is the car side? how does it go in and out, and where do the shade fall, and so on. And that's what I keep in mind when I'm sketching. So that's what I'm just gonna fill in real fast. And do not worry about bleeding of the pen, because the pen is going to bleed. And I like to come back later and fill in the lines that are messed up. So you don't have to think about that right now. And the cool thing with markers is you can go over the same area several times with the same marker and you're gonna get a different shade. So one marker can basically function as 3 different shades of marker. William, by the way, if you are at Mid Sweden University, please say hi to Mikael Marklund if he still works there. He was my teacher in Torsten as well. So if you see them, please tell them I said hi. So I think that's good for the first shade of blue. Don't have to be more than this. And I'm gonna keep it for, I'm gonna just use 2 markers. So what I'm looking for now is, that is a bit too dark. I wanna have something in between those. And that is even darker, I think. Let's see. We have some baby blue here. Pastel blue, maybe? Nope. Let's see if we can find another blue. I have a few more. This sounds nice. It's called Cool Shadow. This could work. So what I'm doing now is I'm going over the parts that are, like, I'm emphasizing the shading of the previous shade of marker. I don't want to go over too much on the parts that are in the direction of the sun or the light source too much, but the horizon line, for example, is a pretty heavy reflection, so I want to emphasize that with at least one more shade, one darker shade than the original one. Yeah, I think we're done with that one. We want to add black to this. So I like to add the black to baseline. And also the wheels. So I'm going to add black to the wheels that are on the far end first. And connect these two with a shadow line at the bottom of this car underneath. Looks all right. I also can fill in the window line here, just to define the shape of it. I kind of made it too thick now, but there's nothing to do about that. I can always go back with some white pencil to fix it up. Or just keep it like that. We could also fill in the wheels, the tires here. I'm not sure if I want to do that or not. Yeah, why not? Let's do it. Wheels is just something that I don't really like to sketch wheels because it's so time consuming. Which is why most of my wheels look pretty basic most of the time, is because I just don't have the patience to do all the tiny details on the spokes and the inside of the wheel, like the brakes and all that. Do the same as on the back as well. Thanks for your comment, Gökhan. I appreciate it. And the rest I think we can just fill in with the big pen. Fill in the lines that are started to bleed. So for example, the air intake here. You could make even, if you want to go into detail, you can make, if you have a white ink pen, you can use that to create highlights and stuff like that. I'm just going to do some line shading with the pen to add some reflections to this. Let's see. Just adding some random lines in there to make it a bit more interesting. And what we can do for the wheels is we can pick a cool gray. I'm gonna go with the cool gray 6. Just to give it some depth, we can create some, just put a shade on the inside of the wheel. That's all we have to do for this. Cool. All right, so let's go ahead and sketch put some markers on this one. And let's make it blue. Blue we did already, so make it yellow, I guess. Let's pick some canary yellow, pastel yellow. See which one of these is the brightest one. Okay, so I'm going to start with the first one and quickly just add some lines shading to this. I'm using the guidelines that I put out earlier for the horizon line to just guide me where to put the marker on the sketch. And you could basically stop the marker right here. You don't need more marker than this, because if you put more marker, the pen is going to bleed more and it's going to look messy. So if you want to stop here, I think actually I'm going to stop just with one marker for this sketch. And just add black to this. And the baseline. Same here, I want to do the wheels on the far side. Just have them visible underneath the car. And then try to make this straight line here to connect these two. And since the car is sticking out at the back and the front, that means that the shading or the shadow on the ground is also going to stretch all the way to the end point here and here. I'm just reading the questions. Teach how I could get a spinning motion with the wheels. Yeah, I can show you how to do that once I'm done with this sketch. It's really simple. Thank you, Mario. I appreciate it. Thanks for checking out the video. Gotta define this, make it more, try to fix it because it's not really round. That's the problem when looking at it from this perspective. When you're sketching, you're looking at it from the side. That means that these wheels, they look round from where I'm looking at it, but then I change the viewpoint and I can see that it's more of an egg shape, and I try to fix it. Not a big deal, but it can be annoying. So let's do the same thing on the front wheel and add in the black tire. I think the easiest is just do this in one motion. There we go. Better. Thank you, Maria. Thank you for watching the video as well. Very cool to have you all here. I'm just gonna add some warm gray to the window. Not warm gray 7 because that's too dark. So I want to have like a warm gray 3 right here. Let's see. There's a warm gray 3. And what I'm gonna do with this is just fill in the reflections in the window. And that sound in the background, that is my cat litter machine. So it cleans the litter automatically. It's pretty amazing. The technology available today, insane. I might as well put this warm gray 3 at the wheels here, even though it's a bit too, it's not as dark as I want it to be. But since I'm holding the marker in my hand and I'm lazy, I'm using it anyway. There we go. I do kind of want to go over one more yellow because it looks too I don't know what it's called. Just want to make it more interesting, basically. That's what I'm trying to say. Make a nice like sunshine gradient here. That's better. What else can we do real fast? We could, of course, work more on the wheels, but what I'm going to do now is just fill in the spokes with the big pen. To add some more detail to it. And add some thickness to the spokes as well. I have no idea how long we have been on because I can't see my time on the live video. I'd guess like 30 minutes maybe. All right, so back to Ankit's question about spinning wheels. So what I like to do when I do spinning wheels and have them look like they're rolling is to, let's say we sketch a wheel down here. And that is a weird looking wheel, but let's go with it. And we put out the center wheel right there. So what I like to do is, let's make it black first. So we have the tire here. And you can define this as far as you want, of course. So we can just make it more round first before we jump into the spokes. So this is usually how I sketch. I start out, and if I make mistakes, there is always a way to adjust it as you go. So you don't have to have it like completely 100% perfect when you start out, because it's not going to be 100% perfect. Just get it down on the paper, and then if you start to see what's wrong with the sketch, and from there you just try to fix it. Alright, so here we have a wheel, and we have a disc brake in the background. So instead of defining each spoke like this, I like to just blur them out like this. And have the middle part be a bit darker than the rest. Maybe make a few strokes on the sides as well. And then fill in with a cool gray, a light of cool gray. So let's go with a cool gray 3. And let's just fill this in. I want to keep the disc brake clear, so I want to have the disc brake still white. Same thing here, we have the light coming from the top, so that means that the bottom of this inside wheel is going to have light on it. So I'm going to keep that, I'm going to stop this shading around there, that's fine. And since this disc brake is sitting right behind the spokes, that means that it's going to cast a shadow. Something like that. And now we go and pick this pen. It's a white ink pen, it's a Uni Posca pen, looks like this. And then we make some highlights onto this rim, for example, so the light source is coming from the top. And we want to have a burn point right in the middle there. Same thing on the bottom here. So at the opposite side of that one, we have another one down here. And we can start to make some reflections to the spokes as well. Well, that's a really quick way of doing this. Of course, you can spend more time on it as well, like with everything. Not sure how we can make that better right now. We can probably put some cool gray in the spokes as well to make that look stand out from the background more. Well, yeah, that's basically how I would do it. Just to give it some motion. So nothing really too complicated. Just work on the highlights, remember where the light source is, and that's about it. So I hope that answered your question. If not, just let me know. Actually, I'm gonna fill in this. Make some more shading with the big pen to this inner wheel, and also have the spokes reflect, cast a shadow on the inside. So it's like these small details that you want to think about. You want to think about what is going to put a shadow where. So for example, these spokes are sitting on the outside, and they are obviously going to cast a shadow on something that's behind them, and that's going to be the inner side wall of this, the inner wall of this wheel, and that's going to give it some depth. Let's add some highlights to these two sketches as well. So I'm going to add some burn points to these things. This is way easier if you have a toned paper because the background is not white, so the white highlight is going to pop more. And it's kind of hard to see on just a yellow marker. Yeah, I can't really see it. So that's about it. I'm glad that helped you with the this wheel motion here. And if you like this kind of videos, always just you can always comment on them and give me ideas on what you want to see in coming videos, because I'm gonna make these live videos often. I love making these because it's so simple. I make this video right here. I don't do any editing. I used to put the GoPro up, shoot the video, import it, edit the video, upload to YouTube and all of that. But this is just like straight to the point, and it saves me a lot of time too, so it's great. All right, have a great day everybody, and I will see you next time. Take it easy.